Adventure isn't a word that comes to mind when describing my life. In fact, I wouldn't consider my life an adventure in any way whatsoever. The repetitive cycle of the ordinary and the regular forces my life into a predictable set of events played out day by day. This trip was going to change that. Even though I've been away from home multiple times recently, it's only ever been to normal and familiar places. It was going to be different this time. I was going to new places, I was going to be meeting new people, and I was going to be completely out of my comfort zone. Some people make such a big fuss about reaching goals and doing something great with their life. However, as someone whose life hasn't exactly gone according to any plan, this trip made me realise something. An adventure isn't determined by the final destination. It's something else. Nothing has been new for me recently, just living the same old life as I have been for the past few years. Things needed to change, and travelling to Taupo from home was the first step in this journey. I tried to ensure that this trip was going to be something different, something new. Even though we'd just spent the night before travelling to Taupo, the next day we were right back in the car heading east to Napier. Being the height of summer, it was blisteringly hot. Averaging around 30 degrees, it hit me real hard. I'm not generally someone to handle heat effectively, considering last time I was here, I nearly passed out. I wasn't going to let the temperature ruin an otherwise great day. We'd come to visit family and go out for lunch. It's not very often I travel away from home for reasons other than family or related events anymore, so I wanted to make sure that this trip was for me, that I was doing everything I could to make a difference in my life instead of always following suit. In only a few days, I would be flying from Taupo to Auckland, marking almost 10 years to the day since I did the exact same trip as my first time on a plane. Something about that made this more special to me. I didn't want to waste my time in Taupo. I was tired of working so much recently and was in desperate need of a holiday. Everything has been so repetitive work, each day as insignificant as the next. Even though I work so hard and put all my effort into what I do, I constantly feel like my persistence goes unrecognised and unappreciated by most. A break from my normal life was in order. However, the weather was being pretty terrible, which made it hard to have a worthwhile time. But with a bit of determination, and probably some stupidity, I found a way. The day I left for Auckland was going to be the defining factor of my trip. So much time and effort had gone into planning this moment. From here on out, my trip would either become an experience I'd never forget, or a chaotic mess. The main reason for going to Auckland was to meet Tommy and Mara. For the close to 4 years I'd known them, we'd never actually met. It's a possibility that I have more friends online than I do in real life, so meeting some of them face to face after so long was a strange, humbling experience. After the initial first greeting, it felt normal to be in the presence of people who had grown to become close friends, even though they live in a completely different part of the country. Look the road, Tommy.
I'm looking at the road. And I'm looking behind me.
Good.
I'm a good driver like that.
This was my first time up north for a few years, so Tom and I went on a bit of a wander. First stop, Auckland Museum. Other than the museum, we didn't do anything specific in Auckland, but we hadn't planned much anyway, as that evening we were heading to catch the ferry to Waiheke Island, just off the coast. After catching the train to the CBD, we got dinner and loitered around while we waited for the ferry. Once on Waiheke, we travelled in the wind and rain to the backpackers we were staying at. It was something I was extremely anxious about, but I pushed myself to do it, and having Tom stay helped me to overcome my anxieties and made the experience much more worthwhile. We knew the weather was going to be bad on Waiheke, however it was a lot worse than we expected. So after meeting up with Mara for breakfast and exploring the beaches a bit, we headed back to Auckland. Without a doubt I will be back to visit Waiheke one day, just maybe with a bit more sun next time. We had to change a lot from our original plan for this trip. We had planned for me to come up and spend 2 nights on Waiheke Island. Instead, we'd spent 1 night and only a few hours there, with the rest of the time in Auckland. Tom and I spent the day exploring Auckland once again, before he dropped me off with family and we went our separate ways. One day I will see him again. There was a silver lining to changing our plans. It made the trip unpredictable and exciting. It's just my personality to want everything planned and prepared, but now I'm learning to go with whatever life throws at me. And even though after all the travelling I'd done, places I'd been and people I'd met, I was heading back to where I started, back to my normal life. But it doesn't matter, because even though this adventure might be over, the journey goes on.